Hello everyone, my name is Tomcat and welcome back to my Minecraft 8 to 14 series. I have an important announcement to make. Future Tomcat is gone. That's right. I've had a backlog of a couple of videos for me to edit, and pretty much I didn't want to record any new videos until I clear that backlog. But now, backlog's cleared. I can go back to recording new videos again, which means from now on, I'm going to be editing the videos as I record them. So, no more future Tomcat. You've seen the last of him, hopefully. Anyway, that also means I can stop using this corner of the house as the background for my intros because... Ta-da! Okay, I'm guessing some of you guys are thinking, what in the world is Tomcat going ta-da about? I just had some shulker boxes lying around. I didn't want to show that to you guys until I actually showed you guys of the whole End City adventure. Anyway, moving on. So for this video, I'm actually not going to be in the survival world for most of it. I'm actually going to be in a creative world prototyping a redstone machine for this, a red shulker box. Now, red shulker boxes can only contain one thing. Redstone, or at least mostly redstone. So this is going to be my redstone building kit. Yeah, redstone building kit. And, I'm thinking, do I really want to spend bunch of time either before or after a big project to refill it? And the answer is probably. That's actually not that big of an inconvenience. But I like building out of redstones. I want to make the solution as most complicated as possible. So what I'm actually going to do is design and build a redstone machine that will fill this shulker box for me. By the way, I should mention before I hop into a creative world, I did not do any research before taking on this project. Normally I do some Googling, look some images or videos, see if someone else has built something similar and then throw a little twist on it. So, because usually the machine's not exactly the way I like it. So I would, do some tweaking here so it's the way I like it. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I know how to build everything from scratch. So no tutorial, nothing. I'm just going to be winging it. All right, and here we are in my redstone testing world. You can see some of my previous projects like that tree farm thing over there, and then way off in the distance, right above my head, is the armor stand changing machine that I showed you guys in the basement of my house during my house tour. Anyway, here I've listed out all the parts and criteria I need for this project, which I'm going to be calling the automatic shulker box filler project. So first part, shulker box emptier. That's going to be basically you give the machine a partially full shulker box. It's going to empty it so that when you fill it back up, it's going to be a clean slate. That way, every time you fill it back up, it'll be repeatable. Next will be a low stock indicator. So this machine will have all the redstone components stocked up to fill the shulker box. However, if the stock's running low, I need to have an indicator, likely a redstone lamp, telling me that, hey, don't put another shulker box in because we do not have enough items to fill it back up. Third will be the item counter. That's actually very important. So I mentioned that for some items, I'm not going to need a full stack. For example, dispensers, hoppers, ender pearl. Actually, ender pearls, yeah, I need 2 full stacks. So in order to handle this semi-arbitrary number, I'm going to have to be able to count the items that are going into the shulker box. And I have some prototypes back there. Last part, the actual filling of the shulker box. So basically, once all the items have been counted, they need to be put into a shulker box. However, and this is probably something that's going to make this more complicated than it really needs to be, but I really want this feature, is it has to put all the items in the shulker box in the correct order. That means redstone dust must always be in this first slot, redstone torch must always be in the second slot, and so on. Reason being is that every time I pull a new shulker box that's just been filled by a machine, I want the items to be in the same spot. That way, when I use it on a new project, I can always say, oh, dust is always in this corner, instead of like looking through the rows, okay, where did the machine decide to put the dust this time, kind of deal. Anyway, so that's going to be something that I haven't thought about exactly how to do, but I'm pretty sure it is possible to be done. I should point out, by the way, that I'm not going to be building the whole machine, the complete machine here in Creative. What I'm going to be doing is just designing each of these sections, and then once I feel comfortable, it's like I have an idea how this is going to start looking together, how all the pieces are going to connect, Then I'm going to move over into survival because the whole point is to actually build it in survival. All right, so let's start working on the first part, the shulker box emptier. So this should actually be pretty easy. What I'm thinking is we build up like this, put a shulker box on top. Actually meant to put a hopper there. And actually the hopper should go off to the side. So what I want to hook this up to is to a automatic dropper thing that is going to spit all the items out into a water stream that will send it along into the machine and automatically fill the stock inside the machine. So I'm thinking what I'm probably gonna have to do actually is build this out a little bit. I don't know how big of a space I'm gonna need for the hopper thing, so I'm just gonna give it a little extra space like that. And this is going to fill into a dropper. Should it be vertical, or you know what? I can always change it later. So this will be like a horizontal dropper, which actually, now think about it, we don't have to put it that far away. Just put it right there. All right. I'm going to need... Oh, here, let's just do this. And hopper all the way down. And you can pretend this is all connected to a bunch of chests down here. Actually, I could just break that. Like so. I need a chest for down here. It's going to be facing sideways, like so. There you go. And, oh, I didn't think about it. I don't think I left enough room for an item filter, did I? Oh, let's give it a shot. Yep, I was right. I did not leave enough space for a item filter. So before I get too ambitious and start putting a lot of chests down, let me just get one set of chests down. So actually the filter, if I remember correctly, has to be facing kind of in opposite directions. I don't know why I put a shulker box there, but always pop that out. And the way this is going to work is over here on this side, there's going to be a chest, if I remember correctly, and on this side, we're going to have a comparator feed the signal out, and actually I'm going to go underground here. I should build this a lot more. Anyway, stick down here, put some redstone dust up on top of here. Is this right? I'm not sure. I'm gonna go off of memory, and that never goes well, especially when I'm recording. I just burnt that out. Okay, I'm gonna have to refer to my reference design, because actually, this is not the first time I actually worked on this project. I dabbled a little bit with it a while back. All right, here we go. I'm gonna refer to this one. Okay. There is no torch in this thing. It's just a red. Okay, well, there's a torch up here. Otherwise, no torch back here. All right. I'm trying to copy that one. Well, here's the basic design of the first module, the shulker box emptier. Shulker box is up here. Its contents will be emptied into this hopper, be pushed into the dropper. So let me actually put some comparison here. Now, the dropper, with the help of this little circuit on the side, will spit the items out automatically, and each of these hoppers are set as items filters. So the compators we just put into the shulker box are now in this chest. So I will call this module done. Now, the actual one in survival won't look exactly like this. There's actually a couple tweaks I want to do, but I will save those for the survival build. Alright, so the next part is the low stock indicator. Now, this might not be as straightforward as putting a comparator up to a chest. Because, and I have a little demonstration here to show the difference. So right here, I've got a chest with 123 redstone dust. And the redstone lamp is on, indicating the stock is low. If I put one more redstone dust in here, the lamp turns off. Okay, that's good. That's pretty good. You know, you kind of want about 2 stacks of redstone dust in your stock at all times. That's good for the high quantity items I want in the shulker box. However, what about the ones that are low quantity, such as hoppers, dispenser, droppers, ender pearls? I don't need 123 of those in stock. So measuring the signal out of a chest doesn't exactly work. So I've been thinking about this, and here's the alternative. What about a hopper? So in this hopper, I have half a stack of redstone dust and the lamp is off, meaning the stock is not low. So what if I remove 16? There we go. So a quarter of a stack, it's showing low stock. So when do you actually tip over the edge? No? I keep putting in redstone dust until the lamp turns off. There we go, right there. So 23 items will cause the redstone lamp to turn off. So that is the level between 23 and 22. So actually, whoops. 22. 22 is saying low stock. 23, good stock. So this will be good for items that are just, I don't need a lot of. So dispensers, droppers, ender pearls, hoppers. So this is the two different systems I'm going to go with inside the design. Now, depending on, obviously if my shulker box's contents change from, let's say, all high quantity items versus all low quantity items, I would actually have to go into the machine and rebuild it such that instead of measuring the contents out of a chest, I would measure from a hopper or vice versa. Alright, so the low stock indicator is done. Moving on to the item counter. Now, this is the most important part of this whole project, because if I couldn't figure out this item counter thing, then I would not have even bothered starting this project. So, I did some work beforehand, and here we go. So, this little redstone circuit will send out a redstone pulse along this line over here every time an item passes through this dropper. That redstone pulse is observed by this observer, which will increment this binary counter. By the way, this binary counter is not my design. I found this on Seth Bling's channel, so if you want to learn more about it, I suggest go look at his video. But the way this works is when the redstone dust is on, that will trigger this piston. And then, unfortunately, for every single item, it double counts because the pulse turns off, which is, again, observed by the observer, and it'll count again. So every time one item goes through here, the binary counter will count up by 2. So here's a small demonstration. Let's see, what can I throw in here? Let's throw quarter stack of redstone dust. So the red indicates 0, green indicates 1. And you can see the machine firing as the item is counted through. And there we go. So right over here, it counted 32, which is twice as many redstone dust as I put in, which makes sense because this machine is firing twice per item. Once when the redstone dust turns on, once when it turns off. So this is actually one way I could count items. Now the downside is I can only actually use this machine when I want a binary amount of an item in the chest, which is not that difficult to work around. I could just have either 2 of an item for maybe 8 of an item, maybe 16 of an item. That's not actually that inconvenient. So this is actually a feasible way for me to count items. So here, same design, except that I looped it around so that it's a little bit more compact. Instead of having it the whole binary counter along a line, I just looped this one around so that it's a little more compact. And that I can also send a signal back to the item counter to stop counting items. So here, let me grab the redstone dust out of this and feed it back up here. Oh, I need to reset this machine. One sec. Alright, now that the machine has been reset, let's do a quick demonstration. So I'm going to put in 2 stacks of redstone dust. And this has been set up such that it should count a full stack of redstone dust. However, from my earlier testing, it has overcounted. I guess that's one way I could describe it. It has counted a little just over a stack. Sometimes it's 1 extra item, sometimes it's 2 extra items. I think I reset it differently each time, but in any case, it doesn't count exactly a full stack, and that's because of the delay of the piston. So the delay of that piston firing that redstone block forward to send a redstone signal to stop the hopper, that's what causes it to overcount. Alright, and the machine has just stopped. So this redstone block was pushed forward, which lit this redstone signal, which stopped the hopper from emptying out its contents. And let's see how many it counted. Yep, okay, 66 redstone dust. Yeah, so same as before during my tests. So this machine unfortunately counts 2 extra items, and I think that's because of the delay of the actual action of counting 64 items and all the pistons updating before finally pushing this redstone block to turn off the hopper. So this machine is, it's close. It's not exactly 64, but this is still one plausible concept. Now, there's another counting method that I saw once before, but I never really used it in a redstone machine before, and it's this. So here, I've got two comparators kind of facing opposite directions, and, well, here, let me demonstrate. So this button over here will reset the count quantity, and if I hit F3, on the right side of my screen, kind of halfway up, along the right edge, you can see there's a power level. That's a power level of the redstone signal. So right now it's at 15, the highest power level. Goes into the comparator. Comparator sends a signal into that stone block, which then powers the redstone dust on this side. So it's also 15, and it just goes in a loop, constantly 15. Now on the side, I have a redstone dust line that's exactly 15 blocks long. So the power right here, when it reaches into the comparator, it should be power level 1. And here I've got an observer block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a block right in front of the observer. That's going to create a redstone pulse of power 1. And now this power level over here is now 14. If I destroy the block again, 13, 12, 11. So by sending a 2 redstone tick pulse of power 1 into the side of the comparator. By the way, this comparator is in subtract mode. It will subtract a signal from the input, which right now is 11, once each time. So this could be a different way for me to count the amount of items coming through the system. Now, there is one downside to this, and I'm going to try to point this out over here. So if I look over here, right now I have each chest holding one item that would be put into the shulker box, and they're literally right next to each other. They're tiled. And over here, this section over here with the item counter, using the binary counter, this is only 1 block wide. Now this one I believe is not tileable, but I can still put this kind of alternating. So it'll be a chest here, empty block there, then a chest here, empty block here, just to space the redstone circuit out. And I could do the same thing over there. That's not that big of a deal. However, for this though, I'm not sure if I can get this to fit, especially this part over here with the 15 block long redstone dust line. This might be a little too long for me to make it inside a compact machine. I'm not too sure, but hey, this is just another way for me to count items. And the benefit of this one over that one over there is that this can count any arbitrary amount of items that's up to 15. I think actually up to 16. So whereas the binary counter can only count up to binary quantities of items, this can count any amount of item up to 16. So if I wanted, like, let's say 7 cannot be counted by the binary counter, but 7 can be counted here. All I would have to do is, instead of putting the button this close to this redstone dust, I would just put it farther away so that the reset signal is only 7 instead of 15 over here. So there's actually a third counting concept that I want to try out. So the benefit of this third concept is fast, or at least as fast as hoppers will allow it to go, but also, more importantly, it's quiet. This redstone counter is quiet, but this binary counter is noisy. And if you guys have seen in my redstone park, I have a lot of machines that use pistons. I've got the tree farm that is pretty darn loud, and I also have the bamboo farm, which is that one's even more loud. I just don't need another noisemaker inside my redstone farm. Sorry, my redstone park. So what I'm thinking here is, why don't I use hoppers? And it's sort of somewhat similar to like the etho clock. And here, let me just build a etho clock real quick to demonstrate. All right, so here I have a etho clock. Basically, I've got, I think, 16 redstone dust inside these hoppers, and it's just being passed back and forth. Now, when one of the hoppers goes empty, the redstone block gets pushed towards the empty hopper, which would then allow the full hopper to start emptying its contents into the other one. So it just goes back and forth, like a clock. So what if I use this concept where this is actually gonna keep making a racket, so I'm just gonna break that. But what if I use the concept of having another hopper that is also like passing items through, and once that hopper empties out, stop the counter. So basically, let's say I want to have a I don't know, let's say 16 furnaces being counted through. In another hopper that's sort of like a dummy, it will also have 16, not necessarily furnaces, just 16 stone blocks, something cheap. But once the 16 stone blocks are passed through, that means 16 furnaces that must have passed through the hopper, and they will both will trigger the counting to stop. That should be how this counter works. Let's give it a shot. All right. So this is a working prototype using that concept. So far for now. So I pretty much modified the ether clock a little bit. I mean, there's not much going. The ether clock is. I love how simple the ether clock is. But anyway, yeah, there's not much going on there to change. But basically, what I have here is this hopper has 8 items, and right now is in the passive state. Nothing's going to be going on here. In order to start counting, what we do is press this button. That'll push the redstone block over. Once this hopper fills up with 8 items, that means this hopper is empty. It'll send a pulse to push the redstone block back. So that's basically self-resetting. So when this redstone block reaches over here, that's when it should stop counting. So I just need to have another system on the side to actually mimic this, but instead of moving redstone dust back and forth, we'll actually be counting items that we want to put inside a shulker chest. All right, so let's see if this works. Up here I have a chest with half a stack, just 32 redstone dust, and inside the counter, the item hopper over here, I only have 8 redstone dust. So by the time this 8 redstone dust finished being counted out, hopefully only exactly 8 redstone dust will have been pulled through this hopper into this lower chest. So let's give it a shot. Let's press the button. And oh, a short one. Oh, but actually, hang on. The item hopper was empty beforehand, but now it has 1. So actually, let's reset this. Again, let's put the dust up top. And let's hit the button again. 8. Perfect. And it has self-reset it. So if I were to hit the button again, you should see 16. Perfect. All right, so this is actually a very simple mechanism, much more simpler than the, well, and compact than the binary counter. The binary counter is, I was actually having like nightmares thinking about how in the world I was going to reset this monstrosity. This over here is not as compact with the comparators because the whole redstone line has to be 15 blocks long. This modified ether clock with the hopper chest on the side, this has the potential to be compact. Right now it's not compact at all, but all I have to do is just move the comparator underneath, and I believe I can fit this within 1 block, at least the counting part. This is allowed to be sticking out on the side because this will also intersect part of the shulker box filling section. But that is all the time I have for today in this video. This prototyping is turning out a lot longer than I expected, so I'm going to turn this into a multi-part video. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.